足の内側。
隊長。そこまで試験終了。二人ともよくやったな。
All right, my friends, here we have once again the do-over Damsel. This one was episode number 7. And with episode 7, it's an interesting episode to say the least. One of the things I'll say is I definitely like the flashbacks. I genuinely liked the flashback when it came to Jill versus the princess of the Rav Kingdom, the Rave Kingdom, whatever you want to say. And apparently the sister, older sister to the emperor, okay? So I like that she encountered her in her, I don't want to say last life, but in her last go around, she encountered her. And she obviously held her in pretty high regards. And one of the memories that she holds is her kind of like self-deleting herself because she got captured. So a pretty, when it comes to soldiers and captures and all, it's pretty commendable act and pretty crazy act. But one of those things that you definitely don't and can't forget. So all of that completely makes sense. And I do like that Jill has now the opportunity to get closer with her, basically get closer with her future sister-in-law, essentially, and potentially prevent some of the things that will end up causing her inevitable death, which Jill has already done because of the actions that she's taken. But she can now have some, like a confidant, somebody that's on her side. So don't get me wrong, I genuinely do like all of that. It's everything that really occurred before that this episode was just a snooze fest. And I've told you guys, you know, a few different times now as we have gotten out of the honeymoon phase, which was that first 1, 2, and 3 episodes of the show, which were really, really good and really funny and really charismatic and just really funny. And that was kind of the main thing of the show. And like, I don't feel like I've genuinely really laughed at the comedic moments the show has tried to put forth after that. Like, I feel like they've skewed too much to the story, too much to the plot. And because they've decided to skew too much to the story, too much to too much to the plot, the story and the plot aren't good enough. And they're kind of messy and they're kind of just boring. So then what do you rely on? Well, then you rely on the romance piece of it. And the romance piece of it's going to depend on how you feel about the fact that you have Jill and you have Rave or Rav, you know, Hades, whatever his name is. And their really large age gap that they have, you know, with Jill being, I don't know what she is, you know, 10 or 11 years old, like really, really young at this point. And the Dragon Emperor, I think he's somewhere in the ballpark of 18 to 20, somewhere around there. Don't quote me on the ages, but like there's a pretty hefty age gap. So the next thing that they can really rely on at that point is the romance. But then it's like, do I really want to see that? Like if they decide to do a, you know, time skip and they put Jill at 15 or 16, you know, whatever is the appropriate age in this land and fantasy world and story, which more than likely it's like 15 or 16 is probably the marriageable normal age and stuff, then at that point I can see it. But sticking with the, you know, she's 10 or 11 and you're gonna have romance with this, you know, adult dude, like, I don't know how I feel about that. So then it's like, okay, well then the only thing we can really rely on is the story, which I've already said, like, isn't that good? It's a little bit boring. I had to personally pause the episode 3 times. Like, and don't get me wrong, it's cute. It's cute. It is cute. You know, the moment that they're sharing they're in like, you know, they go and they attack his uncle or whatever, and they zap his magic, and they beam to his little house in the prairie, and they share moments, and they share food, and they share vegetables, and there's a lot of cute moments. Like, there's a lot of cute stuff splattered all over the show, but that's not sustainable. That's not good enough. Like, that's not, you know, you can't just be cute. You gotta be cute and funny, or cute and charismatic, or cute and really interesting, cute and really entertaining. So you can't just simply be cute. So because they're just like doing this one thing, it's just not good enough for me right now. So honestly, I would put this episode at like a, if I'm being really gracious, a 6 out of 10, probably more like a 5 out of 10, you know? And I think I would probably lean more, like I'll probably be gracious and I'll lean more towards like a 6 out of 10 this episode. But that's because Jill and the princess, again, I don't know what the princess's name is, but the dragon rider princess lady, you know, she made it really interesting with her backstory and what she brought to the, you know, brought to the table. And I think that is a really cool thing with Jill and her past life encounter with her. And that really made the episode better for me. And I think her name was, I have it right here. I have it written down. 𝐜𝐴𝐚𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐥. So I think her name is Tios, like the drink. So, you know, she kind of made the episode better, but still not good enough to get us to like a really good point in the show. So, yeah, overall, Do-Over Damsel, episode number 7 was fine. It was another fine showing, but I think some of the charm and specifically some of the comedy that also was accompanied with the really, really heavy expressions that they had early on have just kind of been lost over the last 4 episodes, and that's really sad. And it's changed from an anime that I would kind of like scream to, you know, to the anime con of like, hey, you guys are missing out, you got to go watch this hidden gem show, to now I probably wouldn't even mention it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's kind of my feelings this episode. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. As always, I appreciate you guys being here. Do-Over Damsel definitely is a niche anime, and I definitely understand that, so I definitely do appreciate you guys being here. Hopefully, you'll stick with me through the rest of the season. Even if I am a little negative, I gotta, you know, a part of that is just being honest. Hopefully, the show gets better. Hopefully, we get back to the comedy and the things that it was doing really well. And maybe we get a time skip or something like that. I don't know, but like, yeah, I hope we get back to the things that made it special the first few episodes. But if it stays on this trajectory, it's just going to end up being a mid show that just existed in the winter season. And yeah, so I'll see you guys next week though for episode number 8. Yeah, I'll see you guys next week for episode 8. Peace out, my friends.